Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'shehakol b'arei.
לחיים, לחיים.
Chaim v'bracha. Okay, we continue with the mimer. So, as we've explained, the actions of our forebears, our forefathers, they're assigned for the children, as the phrase goes. In other words, the things that are the forefathers and the foremothers did, right? They're an instruction, and they actually enable us, that future generations, we'd be able to follow in their footsteps, which is a powerful idea. Imagine something that was done 3,800 years ago. Second. Yeah, maybe a little less, maybe 37. And it's still an instruction. And it enables us that we can follow their footsteps. Right? Because the Jewish people are Jewish people because of them. So we inherit. And therefore we have the natural ability as a result of them to serve God with simcha. Right? As we're learning specifically here about Sarah and how she serves with simcha. Simcha that's founded on bittul, self-effacement, right? As the phrase says, I am but dust, my soul is as dust to all. Now, although, this is an inheritance from them, this is a enabling, but in the end, we got to do the work, right? We have to make this an actuality in our lives, that we have simcha, if joy, not for self-satisfying reasons, but we have joy that is out of bittul, that's not about me. Imagine, like, what does that mean even? Well, we explained. Excuse me. We have joy in the service of God. We have joy in in, in, in like a servant has a joy that their master has joy, which is, yeah. So since we've inherited this ability, and again, we have to do the work, right? Because it's not natural. The natural way is that we have joy that's self-fulfilling, that is self, you know, I'm feeling it for me. So since we have the ability for this complete bittul, so we're not concerned that the simcha could lead to negative consequences that's going to be based on self-centeredness, right, or ego. On the contrary, simcha breaks all boundaries and will add enthusiasm and energy to our service of Hashem, enabling us to go beyond our natural boundaries. Um, right? Because simcha will be that super force within us that can break the boundary. And it'll be also in a physical, not just spiritually, but in a physical way that's going to give us long life and good years. Yeah, it's the key. So the Rebbe now connects this concept with the Rebbe Rashab because he said this on his birthday, which was the 20th of Cheshvan. Today's the 25th of Cheshvan. And he said it actually in the year 1980, which on that date, it was 120 years since his birthday. Right? See, and what's significant of 120 is that a person's um, she's born in 1860. This is 1980. 120 years is a full life, as the Torah says. Right? And the Zohar interprets this verse in reference to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses. That Moses lived to 120 precisely. And who is Moses? He's the ultimate shepherd of the Jewish people who brings down life for every single Jew from the tree of life. And in addition to spiritual life, also long physical life, as he lived until 120. And this effect of Moshe continues today. As the Zohar says that Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, didn't die. What does it mean he didn't die? Very clear in the Torah. Because in one verse it says Moshe passed away there. He, Moshe, remains there. And in another verse it says Yamash Sham, that he died there. Well, where's the there? This is a play on the words, right? Many, right? Simple meaning means there on the mountain of Vo. But the Talmud, the sages in the Talmud, they kind of they play on the words, right? Different levels of interpretation of the words, or commentary better. It also says that Moshe remained there in another verse that refers to Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights. So what does that mean? Well, what is the connection between the two? Just like there in the verse where it speaks that he was at Mount Sinai, he didn't pass away. Rather, what was he doing? He was standing there in the service of God. Right, he was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, to get the teachings of God, to bring it to the people, to teach the people, to inspire the people, to guide the people. That's what he was doing there. So too in our verse where it speaks about his passing, right? It's speaking about it, but he also did not pass away, right? Meaning he's still standing on the mountain in the service of God. It doesn't mean obviously physically. It doesn't mean he's physically on the mountain, but he's still serving on the mountain, meaning on high, right? He's serving on high. He's learning from God in order to teach the people, in order to inspire the people, in order to lead the people. That's what he's doing. That's what the meaning is. So Moshe Rabbeinu is still doing that. In addition, Moshe himself continues himself. He also continues through the Moshe Rabbeinu of every generation. Every generation, there's a leader of the generation, right? And that leader, the Rebbe of the generation, is the one who is Rebbe. It means, well, it's an acronym rather. Rebbe means my teacher, but it's an acronym for Reish B'nai Yisrael, the head of the Jewish people. And just like the head leads the body, right? It sends the signals to the rest of the body. Just sent a signal to my arm to pick it up, right? Um, Likewise, the head of the Jewish people, the Rebbe, brings life and vitality, spiritual and physical life, to the Jewish people. In other words, just like we learned in Tanya in yesterday's teachings, that the life force of God comes from the Shekhinah, from the divine presence of God, right? It comes by way of to the limbs of the body as the heart gives blood to the limbs of the body. The limbs of the body are the Jewish people get the vitality. From there, that vitality then comes to the rest of creation, right? That's why the Jewish people are a light unto the nation as a result of this concept, right? They bring blessings to all nations, to all people, as God gave to Abraham the key to blessing. Whoever you bless will be blessed. Whoever you curse will be cursed. And that was given to Yitzchak to Isaac, and from Yitzchak to Isaac, that was given to Yaakov, passed down. Right. so so of the Jewish people, so that's the Jewish people as a whole, right? So of the Jewish people, it's funneled through the divinity, through the brain of the Jewish people, the head of the Jewish people, the Rebbe, as was Moshe Rabbeinu, was the original of the Jewish people. Before that, there was Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? So in every generation, so the Rebbe draws down life, spiritual and physical life. What that means, by the way, is getting from Kedusha, from holiness, right? From the inner dimension of divinity. Yeah. Therefore, this applies to the Rebbe Rashab, because he was the Rebbe in his generation, whose birthday, right? The Rebbe is saying this Maimer, 120th birthday, and also his son, his successor, the previous Rebbe, as a previous Rebbe, who writes in a letter that the shepherd of Israel doesn't abandon, God forbid, his flock. So this reflects the same idea of Moshe Rabbeinu's influence, continues, meaning the Moses of every generation, just as Moshe Rabbeinu is still standing and serving God. Therefore, the Rebbe Rashab and the previous Rebbe were advocating for the merit of every single one of us to bring blessing of success and redemption, also in the physical life, not just in spiritual life, from the tree of life. And of course, the Rebbe is saying that the previous Rebbe is implying himself. So the Rebbe who's saying this is, of course, the implication of this is going on the Rebbe. Although the Rebbe never spoke about himself, he always looked at as he is merely an extension of his father-in-law. And the Rebbe, whenever he spoke, he spoke about who is the Rebbe. He didn't call himself the Rebbe. He called his father-in-law, the Rebbe the Shver, the Rebbe, my father-in-law. He saw himself merely as an extension. That's what such a bittul, such a self-effacement. So the Rebbe now can takes this concept, connects it to the coming of Mashiach. So just like the idea of joining two opposites, which is bittul and simcha, represents the concept that we will live before you, meaning before you, like when you say I'm before you, meaning you're like in the presence of, in a very real and palpable way, that's Mashiach, right? In other words, God's presence is real, that he's before you. So too, the practical capability to accomplish that which we inherit from Sarah, from Sarai Menu, right? To have the two opposites coming together, joy, simcha, and bittul, self-effacement, enables us to actually bring Mashiach in order that we will, in fact, live before you. This is based on what the Alter Rebbe writes. Oh, okay. Stop here for a moment and just like take this in. A couple of like major things. From Sarah, who the story is like 3,700 years ago. We learn from her. She enables us, empowers us, that we could bring these two ideas together. Complete, utter joy that's revealed, not just deep in your heart, but that you express it, right? This is the ultimate chutzpah. Ultimate joy. You dance through life. Not because dancing through life is a more pleasurable life, it's all about you then. It's all about you. And that's what anywhere else besides learning Chassidus is going to teach you. How are you going to have a better life? And it's not saying here we're not having a better life. That's, God forbid, of course. That's not the point. That's not the point. More joy in your life. That's not the point. That's human, and that's what every therapist and self-help will give you. It's not what Chassidus is here to give, because that's all self-serving. It's not real. It's not authentic. Because that's not the authentic you. Authentic you is the godliness in you, and the godliness in you is two opposites living within you. Total joy and total self-effacement. Not making it full of yourself. Ah, do I feel good about myself now? That is a given, but that's not the point. Feel that, wow, I'm able to give divine pleasure. That, right, a chassid feels, can give nachas to the Rebbe. Which means God's happy. So God's happy, you're happy.
You can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Annual matching.
All right, folks. I'll see you.
Every donation, dollar for dollar,
I'll see you.
start